Good morning to one and all present here for today's event. Today, we have with us Mr. Prabhu Gandhikumar, founder and managing director of TABP Snacks and Beverages. He will be enriching us with the topic of ideation and sustainability in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not just a first subject, it's a mindset that helps individuals to develop nimble thinking so that they can identify problems and find solutions that create value. I welcome today's speaker, Mr. Prabhu Gandhikumar. We welcome you, sir. I welcome our beloved director, Dr. AGV Narayanan, Captain Senthil Kumar, faculty members, and students of DGEM and other institutions, and all other participants. Now, I request my friend Sindhura to introduce the speaker.
So, good morning, all. I'm glad to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Prabhu Gandhikumar, the smart, frugal entrepreneur and founder of TABP Snacks and Beverages. He done his mechanical engineering from PSG College of Technology, took him beyond the shores of India to Greater Atlanta area, where he held various positions ranging from program manager to retail to portfolio manager to Windows deployment manager to retail consultant in organizations like Tata Consultancy Services and the Home Depot. Prabhu founded Neocast, a foundry to produce metal castings. Later on, food processing caught his attention, and in particular, fruit juices seemed like an interesting market. A well thought out distributor strategy has now made TAP stand out in many parts of South India. With the beverages and snacks businesses running like a well-oiled engine, Prabhu has now set his eyes on the growing segment of nutrition conscious and healthy eaters with a range of products. We welcome you, sir. Now I request the speaker to take over the session. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So thank you so much for having me here. And I hope we can make this session as much interactive as possible so that I don't make you guys sleep, basically. Right. So we will just start. I'll have a few questions to ask, and if you guys can respond as it comes, it'll be much easier to take it forward. So I'm just going to share my screen right now. So basically, we are going to speak about entrepreneurship and how do you go about ideating a business when you want to start and go from there, right? The first question why I want to ask is, can anybody tell me why a business exists? Any business for that matter, be it foundry, be it any coffee shop, anything for that matter. Why does it exist?
Sir, to make profit.
Okay. Anybody else?
Prabhu, do you have an access to the chat?
It's
Okay.
in Q&A. Where should I be looking
Chat.
at? Yeah, I do. Demand.
So,
there is one answer which says demand.
Yeah.
Sir, to satisfy the customer needs, sir.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
To satisfy the customer.
Great. So any business exists to solve a problem. Other than that, there is no reason for a business to exist, right? For example, if you take any business, for example, Coimbatore is very known for pumps, right? So pump industry, how did it came about? People found it very difficult to carry water from downstairs to their upstairs thing, or for to extract water from a well for irrigation using bullock carts and stuff. So it was a problem which got solved by the pumping industry. If you take automobiles, why do we have automobiles? It solves a problem for humankind to make transit easier. So that is the main reason why we have a business is to solve a particular problem. So when you think about starting a business or starting an industry or anything of that sort, the first thing which has to come to your mind and you have to always give a thought about is, what are we trying to solve, right? What is the problem which we are trying to solve? Okay, so we will just come to the different stages of how this ideation happens, right? The process of ideation goes into 3 stages. So first is the idea generation. Second is you, out of all the multiple ideas you have, you shortlist a few ideas and you take it into a idea finalization state, right? So what we can do today is you give me some any business, anything, any product, let it be a fruit juice or any businesses what you want to think about. Okay, so business which you know, so that we will just go around these various points, try to arrive at a logical conclusion why we start that business. Any of your favorite businesses you want me to discuss, please type it in and let's take it up. Anyone? Cloud kitchen, okay. Okay, so since it's cloud kitchen is what we got, the first thing, let's start with that and let's proceed on it, right? So the process of idea generation now starts, right? So these are the various things which go into the idea generation process. What you have to give it a thought. As I told, the first thing, the biggest issue which you have to think is, what is the problem I'm trying to solve, right? So we started cloud kitchen, right? So what is the problem which we are trying to solve in the cloud kitchen? Like, the restaurant is a very costly industry. The major cost of that industry is going to be your rental, which has to be in a very specific open space, where with car parking, it has to be a high traffic area. Of course, your rents is going to be very high and your overheads increases. Then you have your people who are servers, you are cleaning people, all the people who are front end facing. You have to take the reservations, you have to maintain the place very clean, very nicely in the front. You have to spend on AC, air conditioning, all that stuff. So that is a problem which increases the food cost. So the problem what we are solving is, again, another with the physical kitchen. You will be able to satisfy only the, for example, you have a 50% seating capacity or a dining room. You'll be able to serve only 50 people at a time, right? So these are the problems which a restaurant industry has. And what on the other side, what are the customers? What are the problem with the customers? They do not want to come out and eat during this pandemic situation. That is a problem which they have. Second thing is, once they are paying for your overheads like rent, electricity, air conditioning, where the waiter charges and stuff, and they come to your restaurant, getting ready and coming to a restaurant itself is a problem. That is in the traffic situation, everything. And you will be able to, and they are not able to get a good different kinds of foods available in their area, so they have to travel a long distance to get it. So these are the problems which both the entrepreneur has and the consumer has. So we have identified, okay, this is a problem which needs to be sorted out. So we have taken this, that is a cloud kitchen is an idea, right? So second thing, an entrepreneur should have a very good passion for the idea which he is having, right? Because it's not going to be a 9 to 5 job or a 9 to 6 kind of a job. It's going to be from the time you wake up till the time you sleep. An entrepreneur has to be thinking about the business whenever he is awake. Every breathing moment he has to be thinking about it. He has to execute it. If you don't have the passion towards, it can be towards entrepreneurship, it can be towards meeting people, or in this case, you have to have a very good passion towards getting food and to service people. Making people happy should be your huge passion when you start a business like cloud kitchen. So out of this, okay, now you have a problem which is sorted out. Now you have decided, okay, I have a great passion. Now we are going to start with that. Cloud kitchen, I really like to cook. I like to do all that stuff. So you start with the passion of it. Then comes your skills and knowledge. Okay, great. So now we have thought like, okay, cloud kitchen, what are the different skills and knowledge sets which we have and which is needed? What is the, do we have the enough skills? Or like, for example, even if you hire a chef, right? So to understand what he is doing, how to procure the raw materials, where will you get the proper vegetables? How do you see the proper vegetables? What is the kind of meat which goes into it? All that stuff you have to either have the skills or the knowledge, or you have to find out a way you are able to acquire those skills. That is very, very important when you start an industry, because you need to know at least the basics. Of course, you will have experts helping you out, and but you need to have that basic understanding of what is there. Then you have this next important thing is the training and experience. What have you been trained for, right? Of course, in an MBA you have been trained, you're all MBA students, so you have been trained to manage a business, so you know the basics of business. You have acquired the training from DJ, like how to build a book, how to balance the books, how to build a business plan, how to put a budget, all these stuff. That is very important in training. Experience, you might have worked in the restaurant industry before, or you might have your family might be owning a couple of restaurants already. Somebody, your uncle, your friends might be, dad might be owning an industry. You have that experience. All that plays into a very important role in the idea generation process. Another very important thing during the idea generation process is what you have to, what are your needs at this point in time, right? So in different ages, in different stages of your life, you will have different needs, right? If you're just fresh out of college, your need will be nothing much, because your parents are able to feed you. You have a social security net to fall back on if something goes wrong. So you can 100% go with your passion, and you can start a business and see if it runs or not. But when you are married, you have a couple of kids or something of your own, you have to take care of the family. When you are starting a business, you have to understand what is the needs of your family and yourself. What is the basic minimum capital I need to sustain my family? What are all my other commitments which I have been? You might have taken a home loan. You might have elderly parents to take care of. So you have to match the idea so that it doesn't disturb your lifestyle. So if that lifestyle gets disturbed, then the entire business comes crashing down. So it's very, very important that you understand your needs at the specific time you are in. Say, for example, 3 years, any business, always remember this, any business you start, anything, not only business, any thing you start, it needs at least 1,000 days of effort before you can see results from it, right? So you have to understand that, and choose an idea where your current situation is, and if your idea and your business will fit in there. Another thing which is the thing which you can look at is the hobbies, right? So for example, if cooking is your hobby, then cloud kitchen will be a perfect match. That is no doubt. If your hobby is to get, say for example, if it's car racing, and if that is what you want to take your career in, then that's the business kind of say car tuner or a car service station will be a great fit. If your hobby is to design jewelry and make your own designs like embroideries on your t-shirt, then a clothing business will be a great thing. So you take your hobby, because obviously immediately the hobby will be your passion, and you have already had the skills and trainings and all that stuff falling into place before you start. So for this thing, let's assume your problem, we have a problem to be solved. We are very clear on that. We have a passion towards cooking. So we have cooked a lot, and we have worked in a few restaurants already. So we have acquired the skills, we have the training required, and our needs, like for example, today we don't need much capital right away coming out of the business to sustain ourselves, and our hobby is cooking. So all this falls into place, and now we have multiple things, and one of that is cloud kitchen. Right, so we have kind of an idea. Now then we go, like for example, let's say 3-4 ideas now. Let's have a cloud kitchen. Let's have a quick service restaurant. Let's have a full service restaurant, and let's have a kiosk in the mall. So all these 4, let's say, just related to this cooking. Now in the idea generation process, we have got all these 4. So now we are going to do the idea shortlisting. So out of these 4-5 ideas, what we got. Now we have to shortlist the idea, what we are going to do, right? So we do a market analysis initially. Based on all the ideas, you take the market size, the market analysis, and you take a look at all that stuff which is happening in the market. So how many restaurants are there in Coimbatore? For example, you're starting in Coimbatore. how many restaurants are there, what is the age demographics of the population, how much of them are A plus consumers, A consumers, how much per meal will they be able to afford, what is happening in the industry. All that falls into the market analysis stage, where you have to threadbare analyze where your business will fit in, right? So then you come to the competitive analysis stage. So there now you come to like say, okay, now you have a restaurant, you have a quick service thing, you have a fast food thing, all that you analyze your competitors. If you want to come into say a traditional restaurant, then your Annapurna, Anandas, all these guys are your competition. They are well-versed brands already available in Coimbatore. If you take if you take a fast food, you have KFC, you have McDonald's, you have Taco Bell, people like that already present in Coimbatore. So you take you try to understand what your competitors is doing, what are the gaps, what are they not fulfilling, right? Then your standard SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats of the different business ideas, what you have. What is the, like for example, cloud kitchen, what is the opportunity, what is your strength, what is your weakness, what is your opportunity thing, threats, everything. So we can go in detail if you need. But if you do a basic SWOT analysis of all the businesses ideas you have, then you think about the feasibility of executing the idea, right? For example, you might really love Lebanese food or a Japanese sushi, right? So and that is that you might find a good gap in the market because there is no sushi restaurant in Coimbatore. Market analysis also says Coimbatore is quite a per capita rich state. So you can take a sushi restaurant, but how feasible is it idea to run a sushi place? How many people are willing to be eating raw fish in Coimbatore? It is a total a change in what they have been doing. So how much is it a feasible thing? I don't think so. It's a change in the consumer behavior. Some of the costliest things which you can do. So basically, that getting a sushi restaurant will not be feasible. But if you take a tandoori style thing or a kebab style, or even a little bit of a continental mixed with Indian, or like a Chinese Indian kind of restaurant, the feasibility becomes much higher. So that is that you have to have that parameter when you are shortlisting this idea. Then comes the part where you have your investment ability, right? For example, if you want to start a restaurant in a good place, you would need at least like 60-70 lakhs for all the interior, rent, all the tables, furnishings, all that stuff. So will we be able to get that investment either through our friends and family, your savings, bank loans, all that stuff? You will have to analyze it for the idea. How good is that idea for us, for our investment ability to take it forward? So that is very important to do that. Then you have to think about your personal attributes to fit that idea, right? So for example, if you're starting a cloud kitchen, will you be willing to get up at 5 o'clock, go to the market and procure vegetables fresh? Are you very much interested to meet new people? Are you willing to speak with them? Are you willing to interact in a proper way with them? If you're an introvert starting a business, which means you have to meet a lot of people, might not work for you. That is a very personal attribute. You cannot be out of your comfort zone always and try to build a business. If you are an extrovert, you cannot sit in a desk job and do a service kind of a business. So you have to understand your of the business ideas. What is the personal attribute which will work for me? So that is also another important attribute which you have to take into consideration. So then you have the idea execution stage. So this is the very important stage of a business where now we have finalized. Okay, we have starting a cloud kitchen, right? So the first thing what you need is you need support. No businessman exists on himself. They always stand on the shoulders of people who have already done it. So you take your support. First thing is you have to buy in from your family. If the business has to sustain, because you'll be so very busy with that. So you start taking help from your parents, your friends. Basically, it's physical support. Like for example, you have to move some stuff around. You need a little bit of capital to buy a few very little equipment before you try it out. You need mental strength to support. So you build people who are very close to you, who are ready to, how do I put it, like support you mentally, like giving you encouragement, giving you when you're down, picking you up and things like that. You have to get the support system right if you have to succeed in a business when you are starting it right in the first time. Second thing is always create a minimal viable product, right? So for example, you decide you want to do a kebab, right? You immediately don't go and start a cloud kitchen, buy a, like for example, let us start with biryani, right? So you don't start a biryani thinking that, okay, now biryani, I want to do a biryani for, you buy a vessel which can do biryani for 500 people because I am going to make 500 people. No, that will never work. So you have to start with a minimal viable product. You start cooking in your home kitchen, try to get the product right, try out different variations in the kitchen. So that is, and you don't have to worry too much about getting a fancy packaging done and stuff like that. So all that you decide you're going to be a biryani kind of a cloud kitchen. So you get the minimum viable product done. And what you do next is you give it to a few customers. You don't go immediately all out and advertise the product, but you go to run a small Facebook marketplace or a Facebook group. You just introduce, I have started this. Will you be willing to try it out and give me feedback? There will be very, very influential foodies around Coimbatore, which has a huge following. You give these samples to them. You ask them to check what is the feedback, how they can improve. How does our thing stand? Of course, it's our baby, our biryani will taste the best to us, but it may not be the same for other people. So you get the customer feedback and you keep working on improving the product and the service, right? So they will want some, okay, now I want the biryani is all fine, but I want a mutton curry with it or a chicken curry with it. Your raita, the onions in the raita is not very good. So can you try this? How are we going to package the raita so that it doesn't spill and make the biryani soggy? So all this happens in the from the minimum viability product to the customer feedback to improving your product and service stage. Before you really do all this, you should never think about raising funds, right? So raising funds can happen in multiple ways. You can go to a bank and get a loan. You can ask your dad to lend you, say, 10, 15 lakhs and start a business. You might have been worked already. You might have a few lakhs in your savings account. Never ever deploy that money until you are very, very confident of this, the second, third, and fourth step. So only when you are thorough, you deploy serious cash into it, into the business, and you start working on the product. Then you hire a kitchen, then you buy equipment for the kitchen, then you hire your staff, you hire your chef. All that needs to happen only after you got the minimum viability product right. So basically this is what the ideation stage. So if there is any questions which we want to discuss now, or we will do it at the end, I'm pretty open to it. So how do we proceed, sir? Sir, you are on mute, sir. I'm sorry.
Sir, can we take it up at the end, Prabhu?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Please,
Perfect.
please. Yeah.
So this is the idea execution state, right? So now you have a business running. You are about to start it, right? So you have to be very, very frugal. Like a business, it's like a baby, right? Till the first 3 years, how good a mother takes care of the baby. They are very, very vulnerable. They need to be fed at the right time. They need to have, they should be taken care. They should have a doctor's appointment. They need vaccines. They need so much effort. So your first 1,000 days in a business is extremely important for the success of your venture. And how can you make it very easy? That is, this is the sustainability part, right? For example, try to outsource all non-core functions. We entrepreneurs, whenever we start, we always think that we are the best guys to do everything, right? Nobody can do it as good as us. Like, for example, right from the designing of the packaging to the finding out vendors for papers, for your rice, cooking the rice, even soaking the rice in the cloud kitchen. You think that you are the best. Of course, since it's your baby, you will be the best. But if you concentrate on all that, you'll not be able to concentrate on the core functions, which is getting your product out to the market. As an entrepreneur, the biggest thing is you have to be the best salesman. You have to get in front of the people and sell, because until you do that, you will not be able to sustain the business. So like, for example, the accounting part of it, you don't have to sit every day and balance the books in the day and night. Though you might think in the initial stages that is the easiest way to do it, but it will burn you out very quickly. So things like that. Then you have your website development. You must have taken a website course somewhere in your UG, and you think you can create a great website by yourself, and you spend so much hours overnight thinking about how to build the website that you lose your core functionality. So never do that. So try to do it in a very try to outsource as much as possible. That is the first thing once you have to think about when you run it in a sustainable way. Second thing is the thing which kills most businesses, the overheads, right? You sell or not sell, there are a few overheads which you cannot avoid, like your rent for your thing, your salary, your electricity bills, your if you are getting a loans, your EMIs. Nothing can be put off. You might have a sudden lockdown, but the rent guy is not going to stop, your bank guy is not going to stop your salary. You have to pay your employees' salaries, otherwise they'll not be able to sustain. So try to keep the overheads as little as possible. For example, in the cloud kitchen, you did not immediately try to rent out a space out like a fancy kitchen. You start in your, say there is a spare room in your house, just convert it into a cloud kitchen. You have a car shed in the home, which you can just convert that into a temporary operation thing. Like even great companies like Apple, Google, everything started in their dad's garage. They did not go out and hire a huge office or anything before they became sustainable. So that is very important to keep your overhead costs low. Then comes you always you will be successful because you have done all these processes out. So what entrepreneurs do is immediately they keep reading about things in the paper saying that this is a 1,000 crore company, that's a 2,000 crore company. Now you also want to get there. You keep reading about overnight successes, but always remember any overnight success took at least 15 years of hard work, because you will just always read about people once they have become successful. What are all the troubles which they underwent? You will never know. Nobody writes because it's very boring to read. So nobody writes about it. So you don't never get carried away saying that, oh yeah, this guy in Delhi, he came out of college, immediately he's doing 100 crore business. No, it never happens overnight. He must have had a huge base to start with. What they won't be saying is his dad and grandfather might be already running a restaurant, which they will never project in the newspapers because it doesn't make a great story. So you also think, no, I immediately want to do 100 crores right away, and you expand. So that will kill your business. So never do that. In practically, we have had a brand which was doing extremely good in Coimbatore, which was doing very well. They got sucked into the same thing. Swiggy guys came and told them, "Arey, now you can do all this. You are great. Your food is getting so much traction." Without even thinking, he expanded to Chennai and Hyderabad, and he lost everything. He was doing a roaring business in Coimbatore. He was kind of the upcoming next thing in Coimbatore. Unfortunately, he went into bankruptcy just because he expanded too fast without building his team. It's very important never to do that. Take it slow, but at the same time, not very slow too. There needs to be a balance between it. But for a sustainable thing, grow slowly. At least you find and know what all the pitfalls can happen. So another thing is always find a mentor as quickly as you can, because these people have already done it. They have seen all that stuff. They have made the mistakes. You get experience couple of ways. One is either you become old or you lose money. So another way is to get the experiences from a mentor, right? A mentor is always, he has done it. He has lost money. He has gained experience. He knows what to do. He knows what not to do. Taking the example of a cloud kitchen, he will know who are the suppliers who are good, who will stand by you, who will not supply, who will initially supply very good meat, and suddenly one day he gives you rotten meat. You do not understand it. You supply to customers, your entire brand is gone. So all this has to, if you have to learn it all by yourself, it's going to take those many years your mentor took. So find a mentor, but respect his time. Give him specific questions what you have to ask him, and you can take that forward. So other thing is always try to find free apps and tools to run your business. You don't have to like immediately buy. Yes, of course, Microsoft Office is the best thing, but you have to buy Microsoft Office. It's going to cost you about like 10,000-15,000 bucks. Instead, the Google Docs is good enough for all the letterheads and all the stuff which you're going to type it out. Then you have your, like for example, Zoho books and stuff like that, which is much cheaper than getting other kind of things. You might be, of course, in India, unfortunately, you need Tally. But when I started the business, what I did was I didn't know Tally. I didn't have an accountant coming full time. So what I did was the Zoho thing was always, it was a GUI, very easy GUI. So I used to put all the entries in that. And at the end of the week or something, an accountant would come look at it and convert all into Tally. So you find things like that. So you don't have to invest a lot on your efforts on getting spend a lot on apps and stuff. And always try to buy used. Even today, my office furniture is all bought used. I don't buy anything first-hand for like anything which cannot contribute. See, one thing which you have to remember is anything you put on the outside the product, your product needs to sustain the weight of that cost. Anything, be it anything, as simple as installing an AC in your office room, the current bill has to be borne by your product. If your product doesn't do it, please don't have the AC. A fan is good enough. So things like that, you don't buy. There are many businesses who are going out of job now. You can get multiple equipment. Like even if you want to get a stove, you want to get a hundi to prepare your biryani. There are multiple things which is available used. But you have to take a call on which is good to buy in use, which is not. Like for example, never buy a computer used. That will bring down your productivity. But there are people like burner stoves. Nothing is going to happen. It's all steel. You just have to change a few parts and it's as good as new. For a cloud kitchen, when you are buying your office furniture, always buy used so that it keeps your cost down. Because initial 1,000 days, it's all about sustaining. If you sustain that, then you become a successful business guy. So around 60-70% of the businesses fail in the first year, and 90 plus the businesses fail in the first 3 years. So if you have crossed that stage, you are better than 90% of the people. You are in the 90th percentile. So try to sustain, and all these things will help you sustain. The minute you increase your overheads, it will be very tempting. It will be very tempting to get a very fancy office so that you are known well enough in the community. You can always hire a vehicle for your, it's a cloud kitchen delivery. You want to say very good fancy t-shirts and a very good bag. And you want to send your guys all in cars which are plastered so that your brand gets visible. All that is very good, but it will not sustain your business until you have an unlimited source of funds. Your business will shut down. So be very, very frugal when you are doing a business. There is no glamour. In the first initial 10, at least for 5-6 years till you get there, whatever you see in the TVs, in cinemas, or you read about in newspapers, it's all after they have become successful, as I told earlier. That's very, very important, because today and since I have seen it very personally, that is why I keep repeating it. There are places where they keep hyping you up so much that you don't even understand why it's happening sometimes. But you have to be very clear, always be grounded, never take it to your head, saying that, now I have accomplished, now I can do anything. It doesn't work that way in the real life. So be very, again, you have to be very, very, humble. So once you get a success, that is when you have to become more humble, because unless otherwise you will be pissing off a lot of people, like your mentor, your supplier. You think now you have become huge and you don't respect the supplier, like when you were doing it when you were small, he will of course not want to do business with you. You would have lost a great guy. Your partners, your employees, somebody would have come in as a chef and helped you when you were very small. Now you are huge and you suddenly think that you don't need that guy and you start not treating him right, then your business goes into a doldrums. So always be humble, respect people, and that will create a very good sustainable enterprise going forward. So that is pretty much from my side, and any question and answers I would love to answer.
Prabhu, so candid and so down to earth. Thank you very much for picking up the concept and then explained all the strategies behind. Great show. Nice listening to you.
Thank you, sir.
I do have a couple of questions, Mr. Prabhu, to begin with.
Yes,
and
sir.
subsequently,
Yes, sir.
I leave the forum open to my students.
Absolutely, sir.
One is with reference to your brand called Tanvi. Of course,
Yeah.
I was trying to identify the meaning behind. I got to know so many things like it means beautiful or slender, or again it means goddess Durga. So, what did you have in your mind when you picked up this brand name?
So it was very simple. It was my daughter's name.
Oh, nice of you. Nice of you. Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, that's actually not my brand as such. It's actually
Okay.
the company's name. We started it as Tanvi Foods, and
Okay.
when we moved on to private limited, we didn't get the Tanvi Foods thing, so we changed it into
Okay.
TABP Snacks and Beverages.
Right.
My brand names are Plunge and Gulp. So in a
Okay.
beverage, a
Okay.
plunge means to immerse yourself into taste, and Gulp is just
Yeah.
take one in one swing. So these are the
Okay.
two brands which I have it in for
Great.
my beverages. And
Great.
for the snacks, I have a branding called Cheers Snack 91.
Okay.
91 is India dialing code. So I wanted to differentiate it as an Indian brand. So 91. So Snack 91 is what we named it. So that is how we went about branding.
That's great.
Yeah.
Second question with reference to your target segment. Of course, my specialization is into rural marketing, and that's why I'm raising
great.
this particular question now. If you look at MPCE, monthly per capita consumption expenditure, it is very, very low in rural when compared to that of the urban. That is one thing. The second one, again, what do they spend towards? If you look at, of course, they are looking at even personal grooming products, okay, fast-moving consumer goods, and so on and so forth. So naturally, if you look at a product category like carbonated soft drinks, or anyway, soft drinks for that matter, it doesn't find a place in the top 5 or top 6. Okay? So, which one attracted you towards this particular market?
Okay. So, sir, basically, when I came back from US, I joined my dad's business, and I had already started another foundry, which was doing well from 2012 to 2000. It's still running. My dad takes care of both the foundries now. So that is what I was doing. But I always wanted to diversify because I was a retail consultant. I was knowing that there is going to be a huge boom coming in to India. What we usually used to do is, like, for example, this is how I came up with this idea. We have a family temple near Avinash, right? It's not a small village. It's kind of a decent enough village there. So when I used to go there, like, for example, Pongal, there used to be a function which starts in the morning and goes till in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. But when I went to the shops to find out if there people used to be doing all the stuff, and I used to get bored, so I just wandered the village there. So when you go to the shops there, you find the 10 rupees bottles like what you have here. Like, for example, glass bottles today, I think it's again 15 rupees or 16 rupees today, even in urban places. It was not present there. And the shops used to run out of even the soft drinks. What they were having, their 25 rupees thing, the 50 rupees thing and stuff. I used to ask the shopkeeper why. He used to say that the vehicle comes once in a week or once in 10 days. And we do not have this big consumption, so we don't stock it up. But I used to see that tea was selling for rupees 10, and people used to consume tea like crazy. Even in the hot sun, they did not have an option. They used to take tea, and they used to have buttermilk. They used to have curd, lassi, and stuff like that. The shopkeeper used to prepare roast milk and was selling it in a 10 rupees tumbler. All this actually taught that, and when the people used to be playing cricket, right? So if a guy used to get a soft drink bottle of 25 rupees or 30 rupees, he used to be looked upon like a hero in the rural markets then in around 2000, I think around 14, 15, those times. I found that, okay, this is a very good aspirational product. People really want to consume it, but they are not able to consume it in that segment. They are not having for example, if you take buttermilk or lassi or something, or roast milk which is prepared in the shop, you never know the hygiene aspect of it. You don't know how what kind of water has been used to it, what is the processing which the girl has done. But people used to consume it, and all this for thought like, okay, when we saw like all the startups of then and even now, they always target the A plus consumers and A consumers, direct to consumer market. Though, like, for example, today, the population, that is the population which earns less than 300 rupees per day in India, is as big as the population of USA, which is the fourth largest country. So
Yeah.
around 300, 400 million people are there, and nobody is targeting this segment in the beverage space or in the snacking segment.
Yes.
So that actually forced me to look at it in a very serious way, and that is how we came up with this concept. So after that, I'm a mechanical engineer doing foundry. So I had to learn everything. I went into the TNAU Agriculture University, and they have a post-processing center. So I went there, did a small course there into food processing, into how a fruit juice is made. So, and we launched our apple juice and mango juice initially. Then based on consumer feedback, customer feedback, we started introducing all the other drinks. That is how the company formed.
Excellent, Prabhu. One more question. Prabhu, the price point matters a lot as far as the rural market is concerned. I still remember Tata, Matlab, Coca-Cola came out with the ₹5 price point, and it was a roaring success. It was a roaring success at that point of time. So you also picked up the concept and you launched your products in the price points of 5 and 10. Okay, I am looking at the sustainability part of it. Okay, to what extent or how long you can get it sustained at this price point?
Okay, so what is happened is you always have to do a lot of value engineering to sustain in this part, sir. What the thing is, the plastics which is used for the PET bottles, right? For example, it's a simple thing. For a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi, they have to make sure their product stays the shelf, that is the gas volume inside which is dissolved in the product doesn't go down for 4 months, right? So they always use a lot of thicker bottles. For us, it's not that way because our product gets consumed in the season. Within 6 days, it gets consumed. And during off season, it takes about like maximum of a month or 45 days. It'll get consumed. So what we thought was, since we will just reduce the grammage of the plastics which is getting used. So that saved us a lot of cost. So again, now what is happening is there is a new neck, like the bottle neck which you see, where the cap is tightened. It's called 1881. When I started the business, it was 1880, which we brought it down to 1881. All these are international standards, which specifies the thickness of the neck. So the neck portion is what it does is it just has to hold a closure where the drink doesn't link or the air doesn't go inside and spoil that. So now there has been another R&D which has been done, which we are trying to still bring down the weight of the neck, which doesn't do anything for the product. So that is another good value engineering which we have done. Then having transportation is another huge problem in the beverage space because it's a very heavy product. You are basically transporting water. So what we decided to do was we decided we will never go in for one huge plant at one location in Coimbatore. So today I have 6 bottling plants. I have bottling plant in Coimbatore. I have a bottling plant in Chennai, in Krishnagiri, Dharmapuri, in Mysore, in Aurangabad, and in Chengapalli. So we are also very actively looking for a bottling plant in Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. So what this does, it saves us a lot in transportation costs. So right now what we have decided to do is this year we are buying the mangoes directly from the farmers and hiring a unit to process our own pulp, which goes into the fruit juice. So all this goes into making sure the product stays at ₹10 because that is fixed. The 10 rupees thing is fixed. You will not be able to raise it to 11 rupees or 12 rupees. If you do that, your business is out.
Yeah. So that's right.
Even what is happening now, for example, in the Tetra Packs, if you look at the Fruity and Masa, where at 250 ml, they came to 200 ml, on 125 ml.
Mr. Prabhu, it's breaking. Your voice is breaking.
Hello?
Your voice is breaking. Yeah.
Better now? No?
Better, but still your voice is breaking, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah, seems to be better.
So I think it should be a little bit better now.
Yeah, better.
Okay. So so I was saying that when you look at Maza and Fruity in the Tetra packs, they were at 200 rupees, 250 ml. Then they came to 200 ml. Then they went to 160 ml. So we came to 200 ml. Now they have gone to 125 ml. So we will ideally, when the cost keeps increasing, we come to 160 ml. Until and unless the product itself, rupees 15 becomes the rupees 10, which we expect to happen in the next 5 or 6 years. Then we can all change it into a 15 rupees product. So that is where the sustainability, you have to be on the toes. And since you're it's all about volumes, and you have to keep your cost very tight. That is why I keep insisting on being frugal. So
exactly.
That is what it is.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Students, it's your turn now.
Yes, students, you all have the access. You can ask.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is Kalimuthu from TJ Academy, sir.
Hi, Kalimuthu.
My question is, hi, sir. My question is, if I start a business, how can we identify the product which are in high demand, sir?
Okay, so basically, you have, as we started first, it's about what is the problem you are trying to solve and how big is the market for that, right? Like, for example, if you are trying to solve a problem, let's say a commuting problem, you have for example, if you are able to produce a product which can increase the mileage of a vehicle by say 10 kilometers per liter, you have a huge market, right? So that is very, very important when you look at the market size. But if you say you want to improve the performance of an aircraft, that is going to be a much smaller market. So market size determines the market potential. If you're starting a completely new idea, if you are looking to, it's not wrong. It's very easy. You find out a product which is doing well, and you want to replicate the success of that product. Then absolutely, you know that you speak with, like, for example, the best market intelligence you can get is always speaking to the guy who is supplying to the shops. If it's in a retail market. If you are looking at an app or something, you go today, there are multiple tools which can analyze the traffic which is going to your competitor's website, where the business, where that the traffic is getting generated and how he is funneling his business. There are multiple businesses today which serves you. So you use all project report done from a fancy the consulting agency or such when you are small. You can do that when you already have a huge business running, when you want to do something very new. That's different, but please don't take it when you want to when you are very small. So I think we have a question in the chat. Ideation, innovation, and creativity. Shaktivel, can you be a little more specific on what you're looking at here? Because I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Okay. Okay, sir. There is a.
I'm Lokesh.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Lokesh from second MBA, sir. My
Hi,
question is, sir, what is your view on a brand like Tilo, which is following the same strategy as yours, but they operate in soft drink space? What is your view on
that? Please repeat the question. I'm really sorry, Lokesh. I lost you a bit. Can you please repeat that?
Sir, what is your view on the brands like Tilo, which is following same pricing strategy as yours, rupees 10, operating in soft drink space?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Tilo is Tilo is a competing brand for us, and Mr. Suresh is a good friend too. They have done very well. He's the taste of the product, everything is very good, no doubt about it. They have been in the business from 1968. Their grandfather started the business. So after Mr. Suresh completed his MBA from PSG IM, he went and changed the business around from glass bottles to PET bottles, and they have been doing very well. So no doubt about it. I have a huge respect for that brand. They have scaled very well in the last, I think, 20 odd years. They have done very well. No doubt about it.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Sir, this is Anish from SNGIMS, working as an assistant professor, sir.
Hi, sir.
So I have one question regarding free apps and tools that you have explained. Actually, I worked as an intern in a food industry, sir.
Okay.
The company name called Habitos. And actually, while joining, it was named as Idli Dabba. And their model was like, they used to, as per the client's order, they used to make, and they used to do, they used to give door deliveries, sir. Like Swiggy, Zomato, like that they used to do.
Great.
But the thing is that it doesn't sustain for a longer period of time. They took 2 years, but they couldn't make it. As you said, that particular people had some business mentor. As per their instruction, they moved to another field called like, why can't we cater foods to like school students or the corporate people, like that. We'll make here in a kitchen unit, and we used to do deliver to the school students, like rich snacks or rich snacks, like that, sir. The thing is that, yes, sir, the thing is that you have told regarding the company has to use as a startup, we have to go ahead for free apps and tools. But they spended more amount on ERP, sir. They asked, yes, sir, they spended more amount on ERP. They used to have a connect with a software company. They used to give an idea. This is how ERP app or software has to be there. And that particular software company, as per their requirement, they used to develop, but it cost huge. Is it possible, like whether we can able to reduce through like as you said, like free apps and tools? Is it possible, sir?
100%. So actually, that is where being frugal and keeping your overheads very less in the initial parts of the business makes a huge difference, right? So why do you need an ERP when you are small? You are not an enterprise yet, right?
Okay, sir.
ERP
Yes, sir.
is basically an enterprise resource planning. So you are not an enterprise. You are 4 or 5 people sitting around the table working it out. A basic Excel sheet to do for what you are doing. Till you become like, for example, if you're doing say 10,000 orders per day, then you need an ERP. Like today you have one location, you just go into your kitchen, you count how many tomatoes are there. You have how many, so how many tomatoes are there, how many eggs are there. And you know the recipe saying that, okay, for an omelette, I need 2 eggs, I need 1 tomato, 1 onion. Why do you need an ERP when you are already present there? So
no,
all
sir.
this is,
Actually, the thing is that for the first type of business, they didn't do ERP, but for the second time, like for catering to the company people, like whether a strength around 300 to 500 employees, and for school students, for example, like kindergarten, like Yuva Bharati in Coimbatore, they used to cater foods there, but they spend more amount on ERP, but they couldn't able to have that break-even point. That was the issue, sir. But my suggestion was they spent more amount on
that
ERP.
is what I'm saying.
Okay, sir.
See, if you have a real need for an ERP, right?
Yes, sir,
there are multiple open source ERPs also available today in the market, right? You leave about SAP, you leave about Oracle, you leave about Microsoft. But if you go and look at Odoo, have you heard about it? OODO. It's an open source ERP which is developed in Europe, which you can just download, install, and you can configure it what you want to do. You just hire a person who's like a 20,000 rupees per month kind of person. He'll be able to sit in your office, hire and build the entire ERP from the base, which is an open source. You don't need to spend say 30 lakhs or 45 lakhs for an SAP. And after that, every year on maintenance, you will never be able to break even. So see, anything you spend on your product needs to carry. I understand how the schools of Yuva Bharati and Indian public school work. They are going to get the least possible price because they are huge consumers. Every day you're supplying 3,000 food for them. They are not going to allow you to supply at Annapurna's rate. They'll be asking you at like 30 rupees, full meals at 30 rupees. Right? So if you are giving 30 rupees, full meals at 30 rupees, how can you sustain even an ERP which costs around 30 lakhs or 40 lakhs, that is, you have to divide that into per meal cost, right? So it will never work out. You do anything of that thing, then the business is dying a very slow death. That is what I'll say.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thanks for the valuable information, and that I'll check it out. That word, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fine, sir. Thanks for the valuable information. Thank you so much.
No, anytime.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm Hemchand from DJ Academy, first MBA, sir.
Hi, Hemchand.
Sir, how do you expect this scenario? Will it change in near future? Like,
see, for you mean if you are, I assume you are speaking about COVID thing,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Okay. So from whatever experts I have seen and I've heard about talking, it looks like till 2022 end we might have multiple disruptions. But from 2023 to 2027, we are going to have a boom on economy for the likes which we have never seen in our lifetimes. That happened after the 1916 or 1917 pandemic. We have seen that multiple times happening after the Great Depression also. We have the roaring, we have had multiple instances of that happening. So we have to sustain ourselves and keep pushing till 2022. We might in India have another wave coming in because our vaccination is going a little bit slow. So there are a lot of chances of having another wave. The business travel is expected to stabilize to pre-normal levels by 2024. All the other businesses, the people walk-ins, the travel industry, hospitality industry is supposed to be back to very good boom times by 2024. So I am sure that we are going to be in normal very, very quickly. And this is nothing but a blip in for 2-3 years, which we have lost.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think Sindhura had raised her hand. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. I'm Sindhura from First MBA. So what are the basic promotional activities which is carried by you to reach out your brand to customers, sir?
Seema, our brand till this point in time, we have not done any marketing thing at all, ma. So what we have done is, this is an impulse buy product. So our major push is to put our products in the retailer shops. Today we are at close to 1,10,000 retailer shops spread around the southern states. We want to take it to 5 lakh retailer shops very shortly. Until we hit 100, 120 crores or even 150 crores, there is no marketing activities needed to build a brand for a 10 rupees. It is an impulse buy thing. You have to do your packaging is actually your maximum marketing you're spending. So if you're planning to get into the same kind of a business, spend a lot on packaging, get it right. Don't go for a DTP kind of a thing. Hire a proper designer and get the branding right. So that is very important to take it, because you will not be able to spend a lot on marketing because your brand cannot sustain it. Your product will not be able to sustain any marketing expenses happening. But there is a huge market, and you can even build it into 1,000 crore brand without having any marketing. But then you can think about marketing, ma.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I think yes, sir. Yes, Lokeshwaran.
Sir, my question is, what kind of changes can we see in the food industry in coming years, like lab-grown meat and like that? What kind of change we can see in the food industry, and what kind of change we can see in the customer behavior, sir? For
Great
example,
question. So what is, yeah, go ahead, Lokeshwar.
For example, the Singapore startup approving the lab-grown meat in the restaurants, like that.
Absolutely. There is going to be, see, the biggest thing which is going to happen, not in India, but it usually starts from the Western countries before it moves here, is the sustainability. The sustainability, not in the business thing, but for the environment. So, for example, the amount of resources which grows into growing 1 kg of beef or 1 kg of mutton is phenomenal. The amount of greenhouse gases it is contributing, all that things adds to a lot of environmental cost for the human being, and also it adds to the cost for the product. For example, today the lab meat is very, very costly compared to the real meat. Actually, I don't think there is going to be I'll not call it real meat. basically lab grown meat, what is happening is they take one cell of the organism and they just multiply it in lab conditions. So it is as good as real meat. There is also another concepts coming in as like veg meat. Like in India, that's catching up. What they are doing is they are taking soya lectin and soya fibers. They are blending it with a few flavors to get on this under texturing items to get it like a chicken or a mutton or a fish. So you get veg fish, veg chicken, mutton, veg mutton biryani. If you look at a few, I have seen a few marriages which I have gone, which is putting a veg mutton biryani. So that concept is of course catching on, and that is going to come in because the more the water, the amount of water which is available for consumption is going down mainly, and we are creating huge stress to the environment as such. Like so, once the sustainability factor and the cost factor comes down, we will all be there in lab grown meat. That is going to change. How fast, I don't know. It might be as quick as the next 15 years. It might be as late as 50 years. But that is going to be the future. It all depends upon what is how big of a stress the people are ready to take on the environmental point. Okay, I think Darnesh Balaji.
Good morning, sir. I'm Darnesh Balaji, first MBA at TGM, sir.
Hi.
Sir, what are the post-COVID challenges for entrepreneurs, sir? Or how can we prepare ourselves for any worst case scenario if next pandemic happens? How can entrepreneurs prepare themselves?
See, once the pandemic is over, you are going to have the time of your life. You are going to have a huge boom. You will not be having competition because most of the weak players have been taken out by this wave. So anybody who's weak, so your competition is an enemy of business. So it's inefficient. So you have a lot of competition going away. So you will have a roaring time. So how do you prepare yourself? Being frugal, don't have overheads. Make sure you are alive to after the. That is the only thing which I tell any of my friends. Either two things has to happen. One, personally, as a business owner, you have to be alive, and your business has to be also alive. At the end of 2 years, when all this thing goes away, then you have made it. So how do you do that? You have to be as frugal as possible. You have to keep your overhead costs and all that stuff very, very low. So that will sustain you. That is very important. Please don't spend on anything which you don't have to spend on immediately. So that all those helps.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. So we have a question from Adarsh. What is your view on the organic food market? Okay, in India, I would say it's a scam. So don't fall for it because there is no proper certifying body which says that okay, this is 100% pure organic. Just because people are labeling it right, left, and center as organic, it doesn't make a big, huge difference. Like whatever studies they show in their rats or stuff like that, that is all in huge proportions. Your food, just eat healthy. That's it. Make sure you wash your vegetables when you get it. You soak it out and you eat as healthy food as possible. That will sustain both your physical health and financial health much better than the organic food what we get today in India.
Good morning, sir. I'm Akhilesh from First MBA.
Hi, Akhilesh.
My question is how ideation techniques can solve challenging business problems, sir.
Okay, see, for example, can you give me an example of what you want to solve, and I'll give you a few examples like on what we discussed. Do you have any complex problem in mind, or can I give an example? Okay, great. Okay, so let me give an example. So one of the most complex problems which I feel which has been solved is the space travel, which Elon Musk got it solved, right? So now there is nothing which is more complex than going out of the atmosphere and placing a few satellites out. So basically his ideation thing was he was thinking we have aircrafts which are taking off and landing and taking so much stress to the body, and we are reusing it. Today, the when he before he came in, the rocket environment is like okay, we are going to spend say around 1,000 crores for a car, which is going to travel once, and it is going to take a speed of this much, and you're going to travel only say 70 kilometers, and after that they are going to scrap the car, which never made sense, right? You never buy say you buy a Rolls Royce, you want to drive it for a long distance. You don't buy a car for hundreds of thousands of crores for to drive say 70 kilometers at a speed which is relatable to an aircraft speed and scrap it. So that's a problem which you wanted to solve. That is where your ideation process starts. Then he understood, okay, the basic question he asked is, why can't the rockets be reused? What is so difficult about it? And he started about solving the problem. So it all starts about the idea of why it's not possible, and he lands it. So another big huge problem Elon Musk is solving is, why cannot a brain be transferred on to a computer? Why cannot be you transfer your consciousness to a computer? What makes it so very different? He started a company called Neuralink, which is working on that. So if it comes to fruition within the next 20-25 years, you'll be able to download your consciousness out to a computer which is shaped just like you, and you become immortal. It's that big a problem he's trying to sort it out. Then you have you are today you are for I'll just your professors are going to be mad at me. Like you have to take accounts class, and you have to memorize so much formulas right before you get to an exam scenario. What if that you just connect your head to a computer and you can download all the formulas? It's already there in your mind. That's it. So you don't have, and from there it all becomes how you use that information to create knowledge. So information today is plenty. You can have whatever information you want at the touch of your fingers because of the smartphone revolution. But how you convert that information into knowledge, that is going to be a very big challenge to take it forward. So these are big ideas, big problems. Then if you go through the presentation, what we did, you follow a few points. I'm not saying that is all inclusive, but that can be starting point, and from there you can put your brain into it and you can sort out the problems. Did I answer your question, or was your question somewhat different? Okay, great. So we have a question from CJ Srinath. Okay, so first thing is, you have did you approach any external funding? Yes, we are a funded startup. We have raised multiple rounds of funding. The last round I closed about 4 crores worth of funding from a couple of family offices. One is Chand family from Delhi, and Value Investing from Bombay. We have got foreign direct investment from Mauritius also. So that's to answer your question, the 6 bottling plants are not owned by me. So what we have done is we have created a franchisee agreement where they put the bottling arrangement. We supply all the raw materials and concentrates, and we buy back the product. We operate like a small Coke or a small Pepsi. So we were the first in the 10 rupee segment to do that. If you take Tilo, or they have huge investments in plants, because it came up in the discussion. So what we differentiated is, of course, since even though our gross margins are going to be a little bit lesser, we are going to outsource our production as much as possible. What we have is we prepare the concentrate so that the recipe remains a secret in our plant. So we prepare the concentrate from Coimbatore plant, we send it out to all the bottling units. We have a quality control person in each bottling unit who measures the pH, who measures the bricks, who measures the gas thing, the gas solubility before it gets packed and taken out to the market. So that is how we have been managing. So you, as such, one of the points is outsource as much as possible. So your manufacturing is not going to be a huge value accretive thing you can do. Your major value accretive things are going to be in R&D and in marketing, in getting the product out to the shops. So don't spend a lot of time on manufacturing. There are a lot of spare capacity available today in India, which you can utilize for getting the your products done. So second question is, are you using any production linked scheme? So that's a very new thing which has come up. We are also doing millet based breakfast cereals. So yes, we have applied for the production linked scheme for food processing. That is going to happen over a period of, I think, hopefully by this year. It's getting delayed due to pandemic. And yes, we will make use of it. How do we see competitors like Patanjali and Indian brands? No, I don't see them as competitors. They are also, of course, they are competitors, but I don't see them as a competition that will stop me from growing. India, we have been blessed with so much population that anything what you produce, if it's a quality product, you're doing it ethically and you're providing value to a consumer, you can sell. Nobody can stop you. And the another very important thing what is happening is you have the free cash flow for the people. That is the disposable income is rising year on year. A lot of things are being taken care of by the government that people are having the money to spend on luxury items. Yeah, like I would say, even a 10 rupees drink for us, it's very necessity. But when you go to a rural market, it's a luxury item. As Sir rightly pointed out at the beginning, it's not in the top 5 thing. But people have the disposable income today to spend. So the market is going by close to 18-19% year on year, when the country is growing by 8% to 7%. So you will not be constrained for growth. So it's not a competition. Right? Yeah.
So shall we take a few more questions, sir?
Yeah, please. We have 15 more minutes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Sir. Yes, Priyadarshini, you raised your hand. You can ask.
Yes, sir. So good afternoon, sir. I am Pricey from first MB of DJM, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
The question is, what key activities would you recommend the entrepreneurs to invest their time in, sir?
Okay, so the couple of things before you become an entrepreneur, right? So while I'll tell you what helped me become a better entrepreneur. First thing is when you are in a college, you have multiple options to you test it out without much risk. There is going to be events which is happening in your college. They are going to organize a seminar. You have a cultural club, you have a bookkeeping club, and all that stuff. So what happens there is in the beginning of the year, the management will allocate a certain budget to it, right? So all the activities have to be taken care within that budget. And if you are very well interested to take that forward, you work very closely with your dean of student affairs or your thing to understand what they want. And with that budget, how you can give the best possible value and entertainment for your students, for your fellow students, if you are the secretary of a cultural club. So you go out, you learn how to manage budgets. You learn to, because your budget is going to be very small. You cannot have like a 10 lakh rupees budget for an event. So you learn frugality there, because your management, the main aim of the management is to provide you education, but not cultural events. So always your budget is going to be less, but your fellow students want a great entertainment for the 3 years. So how do you put it forward? How do you get things, for example, the costumes to be done? You can rent it out. Where do I find the costumes to rent out? So all this actually, when I was I was actually the house secretary of Students Union in PSG Tech when I was studying. So all this helped me groom a lot when I was as a college student, right? So after that, you join a job, right? When you have joined a job, always look at what your boss's boss goal is, right? So for example, you are a program manager, you report to you are a developer, you report to a program manager who reports to a portfolio manager. You try to understand what is the job of the portfolio manager, because he will be taking care of the business part, and try to see where you fit in and how you can contribute to his success. So if you contribute to his success, you obviously become successful, your company becomes successful, you become much more valuable to your firm. And that will also help you build the entrepreneurial things needed when you start a company. So never think, okay, this is not my job. Even if you get into a business, you see your say watchman struggling to unload it, go ahead and unload it for him. You will immediately get to know a friend, from the watchman side, right? You don't think, now I am an MBA, I cannot make my hands dirty. It will never work. I'll give you an example. When I came from US, I was already a third generation entrepreneur. Father was already very well settled. I wanted to actually put a gas bottling plant, right? LPG bottling plant. So initially we took an LPG. Okay, when the delivery person doesn't used to come, I used to deliver the cylinders to all the tea shops out here in Coimbatore. So if you inculcate that into your entrepreneurial spirit, it's not that you think that now I am very big. I have so much education. I have been earning in lakhs in abroad as a consultant. How can I lift a cylinder? What will a person looking at me from outside think? This fellow coming from this kind of a family is delivering cylinders to tea shops. Don't think of that. It's what your job is. It's what your business is all about. Get your things dirty, and you will be a great entrepreneur. No doubt about it.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Ma.
Yes, Tamilarisi, you have raised your hand.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Tamilarisi from First MBA. So
Good afternoon, Ma.
Thank you, sir, for this insightful session. So my question is, how were you able to manage financially at the time of pandemic, sir?
See, it's a problem. No doubt about it. That is why we had to raise multiple rounds of funding, because our major season is in the months of March, April, and May. So when you have a thing that your pandemic hitting back-to-back years, it troubles you. If I had, that is where all these points which I put actually came back from. I was thinking when your director and your staff people wanted me to speak about it, I thought, what did I do differently that I was able to sustain? Right? That is very important. One thing is that is where the outsourcing comes. If I had taken huge loans and put up 6 bottling plants, investing 30-40 crores of my money, and your bank is behind me, my business would have been dead by now. If I had had a huge rented office for say lakhs of rupees in race course, though I can afford it in the good times, now I would have been in soup. If I had put a huge AC, centralized AC for my office and given all that people, all the benefits of all that, we would have been dead by now. So all this comes into play. Like for example, transport. Of course, if I have my own truck, I'll be able to do it very frugally. But that's not my core competency. That is not my core process. So I always outsource transport to other logistics players. I don't have a transport division in my company. So all these points, what I spoke about, came out of my personal experiences. What we have done, right? So I'm still alive. That is very important lessons to be learned, right? So that helps a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Surya.
I'm Surya from First MBA. So
yes,
my question is, when you stepped into this business, what was your target, sir? Whether to reach off or to concentrate over the rural market, or to capture the urban market or the consumer?
Okay, so it was predominantly trying to cater to the bottom of the pyramid segment. It can be in a rural, it can be in urban. We do great business in Bangalore and Chennai, because there also you have Swiggy drivers, taxi drivers, you have maids who are working, you have construction laborers, people like that who are earning very, very less. We are able to see only the creamy layer or when we travel. There have been shops which we never ever visit. There are gully lanes where my product is present. It is like we did not restrict ourselves to urban or rural or whatever. Our target audience was a person who's earning less than like 300 rupees per day. He should be able to get a very satisfying, thirst quenching, quality drink. That was the main aspects when we started the business. Another thing which I always had in mind was, at that point in time, Tanvi was, I think, 3 years old. If she gets into the factory and she takes a drink out of the bottling line and she consumes it, I should not be afraid. That was the ethics when I started this thing. So once you do that, you get these things right. Everything else falls into place, Ma.
Okay, sir.
So good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, Gopi.
Sir, from First MBA, sir. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur, sir?
I didn't get it fully. As it like, why was your question about what are the top 3 things which entrepreneur should skills the entrepreneur should have, right? So see what.
Yes, sir.
Great. So first thing is learning, ability to learn. So what you learn in college is nothing but how to learn. There is nothing else. Whatever your 90% of what you are actually learning in college might not be useful for you in your real life. But what your professors do is they teach you how to learn, how to approach a problem, how to learn that. So the ability to learn in a fast way, absorb information and convert it into a knowledge, that is one of the very, very important things which you can learn from college. And that is also a very, very important thing which is needed for an entrepreneur. No, that is a skill without which you can never succeed. Your observation skills, your ability to connect one and two and make it into make sense of it. All that things, that is very important. Second thing is the ability to take risks. You have to have a positive mindset. You have to think, okay, this is going to be a success. If you have a negative mindset and approach a problem, that is, you always will end up in a negative problem. That is, I might be wrong. That is my personal thing. You always think very positive about a problem and approach it. You will find a solution to it. But if you think you cannot, it will never happen. So that is second very important thing. Third, very, very important thing is your interpersonal skills to be an entrepreneur, because you are never, as an entrepreneur, you can never operate in a silo. You have to meet with people. You have to interact with people no matter what. You have to speak with your vendors. You have to speak with your customers. The way you project yourself, right? Your one very, very important interpersonal skill is listening. When somebody is speaking, you should be able to listen without interrupting them, without putting your knowledge, without thinking what your next question is going to be. So that is a very good interpersonal skill, making them speak and try to observe as much information as possible before you respond. So that is a very good interpersonal skill. How you are able to project confidence. When you meet somebody, don't always try to be a very confident. Project how your handshake needs to be very firm. Your eye contact should be very important for when you are speaking with a person. How confident you project yourself in. So this is interpersonal skills. That's a very huge topic. That is also extremely important when you have to become not just an entrepreneur, but all these skills will help you even become a better person, better employee, anything. So these three things are very, very important, what I feel.
Thank you, sir.
So shall we take two more questions?
Lawrence.
Sure, sir, please.
Yeah, Lawrence, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Sir, I'm Lawrence. Sir.
Yes, ma.
Sir, how to test a product in market, sir?
See, you have to do it in as frugal way as possible, right? Because you are not Hindustan Unilever, which can go ahead and do a test market, right? So how I did it was I just found 2 distributors who are ready to carry the product and gave it to them. So we got the feedback from them. The minimal viable product, I didn't have a label done. I didn't have a proper bottling set up. What we did was we took over the lab for in the agriculture university. I'm just giving you an example of how I did it so that it might resonate well. We took the lab for 6 hours of rent. They had a pasteurizer, they had a manual filling system. So we just filled it out there, gave it out to the consumers to test it out. And we got the feedback. That is the first thing what you can do. Second thing is you cannot, your business plan cannot be perfect that it will sustain the war when you've made the market. So you always need to be very, very flexible when you're doing a product testing. You need to have an open mind. You get your feedback. Don't take what does he know about making this product, how much effort I have put. He is giving you his view from a consumer standpoint. You have to be very open-minded and be ready for criticism when you open yourself to product testing. Another thing which you can, for example, if it's a let us take the example of a cloud kitchen, right? You can tie up with a person I would say a person who is doing milkshakes, right? You go, your friend might be doing a milkshake. He already has a delivery system. You just say to him, if somebody orders a milkshake, I will give 100 grams of my biryani free for 10 days and try to understand what is the feedback. All they have to do is they just have to give you feedback. You travel, you get those kind of we call it growth hacking, so that you don't have to spend a huge amount of money. So that is how you get your products tested, ma.
Okay, sir. Sir, another one question.
Yes, ma.
Just now you told practical and the theoretical is a different category.
Mm-hmm.
Practical and the theory part.
Yes, yes,
in our
yes.
it's a different category. Then how we need to manage that, sir, in a practical way?
See, as I repeated now, what your theory teaches you to is to how to learn. It is nothing else, right? So you learn from that. You learned without theory, you will not be able to. Without the basics of theory, you will never be able to do a practical thing. Like you study a recipe in the paper. He says it needs say your your basmati rice. It needs this many grams of chicken. It needs this masala. It needs these vegetables. That is your theory. Without that theory, you do not know what to do practically, right? So that is very important to know the theory part of it. So you learn that, then you implement it in the practical way. You deviate from the recipe. First, you need to exactly create that recipe out of your theory, and after that, you can experiment it practically. So without theory, there is no practice. So, but you cannot. So you cannot blindly be saying that no, this is what is the theory. It has to work in practice. It will not work. So be very flexible, but you need to know theory to be successful.
Okay, sir. Sir, I did UG in my BTech Food Technology in Karan University, sir. Then I'm doing MBA operations and marketing in PG Academy. Can I get a placement opportunities in your industry?
Absolutely, why not? Do send me your resume after you have done it. We can, of course, see where you fit. Absolutely.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So, students, can we have one last question, students? Ajay, Kribakaran, Sandhya, Sanjay, Rohit, all have raised their hands.
I'm Rohit from first MBA, sir.
Yeah, Rohit.
So what is an idea process in the entrepreneurship?
Can you please repeat that?
What is ideation process in entrepreneurship, sir?
Okay, so I think we have answered this before. So the ideation, the meaning of, you're asking what is the meaning of ideation process, it is about how you get an idea to what business to start, right? So that is the process of ideation. It need not be in entrepreneurship, or it can be like, for example, you have, I'm sure you'll be having your final year projects to be done. You all sit together in a room, your project mates trying to shoot each other ideas to come to a conclusion. What is the project which you are going to do, right? That is an ideation process. You before you joined DJ Academy, I'm sure you should have done an ideation process with your family members, saying that, okay, what am I going to do next? There are multiple options before you, right? You could have gone for a job, you could have gone for multiple different skill sets. You could have done an MS, or you could have done for a technical, but you choose a degree. There should be a process behind it. That basic process is called an ideation process. That is the basic thing called as an ideation process. Nothing different.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Sir, for a salesperson, in your opinion, incentives motivates. So it's good in a cash form, or is it good in a gift form?
It depends on what stage of life that person is, sir. See, it's very practically. For example, if we have people who are very young, right? For them, for a salesperson like that, a bike will be a huge financial motivation for him to get hit his targets. A trip to Thailand or Sri Lanka or Singapore will be a great motivation for a youngster who is unmarried, who is there. But for a person who is, say, 45, for him, if you are able to give that in a cash incentive, because his needs and his things are different, very different. He might be very happy to go on a foreign trip, but he'll always be missing his family. So you need to be very flexible when you are fixing your incentives also, depending upon what the receiver of that incentive is going to be. So I strongly feel that is going to be the difference, sir.
Yes, thanks, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Prabhu, is Coke formula still a secret under lock and key?
Sir, that is a big
debatable.
No, it is actually the formula is out. No doubt about it. Basically, you have somebody took a picture of it and uploaded. Of course, Coke is also never going to stop innovating, though it's a fixed formula. They are going to keep innovating year on year to make it better. So it is not going to stay stable over a period of from 1938. So what we are seeing today is going to be much different. We can getting a Coke taste today with the technology what we have available is not difficult at all. If you give it to a very good lab and a friend a few lakhs of rupees, they can give you atom wise what are the different atoms, how many atoms are going to be there. So it's the having a huge vault and all that is a part of marketing. Nothing else. So if you want to replicate Coke taste, we will be able to replicate Coke taste. Not a problem. Not a thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
So shall we wrap up, sir?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
So let me call Hemchand, our first MBA student, to formally propose the vote of thanks.
A warm good afternoon to our respected speaker, director, teachers, and my dear students. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. Thanks to the Almighty for blessing us in order to organize an insightful session with the respected Neeted. On my behalf, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our speaker, Mr. Prabhu Gandhikumar, who spared time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion. Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking and interesting session. I wish to express my gratitude to our director, Dr. AGV Narayanan, for providing encouragement and support. I extend my sincere thanks to the teaching and non-teaching staff for organizing the event. I also thank the students of DJME and students from other institutions and participants from industry for attending today's Corporate Connect. Thank you all and have a nice day.